there is a lot of debate in terms of who will win the election, with how many seats. There are 400 seats or 350 seats, whatever could be the verdict ultimately of people of India. And if you are watching this video after election verdict, that's even more peaceful. But what we are essentially trying to understand in this particular video is what in terms of continuation of the policy and what all sectors will be beneficiary of these policies which are already in place, and that will only accelerate when the same government will be coming, hopefully, and how it will shape up different sectors, what all stocks might benefit. We'll be going deep dive into this entire thing in this particular video. So if you are all ready for this, to deep dive inside all these sectors, how it will benefit and how we can benefit as an investor, just type BIO, bring it on, in the comment box. Let's get started with this particular session. All right, so let me share the PPT first and give you the analogy in terms of what is the thought process we are trying to go about in this entire session, and how we can all go deeper into whatever analysis we are doing. So the first thing is we want to find a sector with whatever policies are placed in the government that will actually have a sector growth of 10 to 12%. What does that mean is what all are sectors that will grow more than GDP growth. Okay, so that is the first thing which we want to identify. The second thing, which is probably the homework for you, is among these sectors which we'll be discussing, what all are the companies which are big and they can capture the market share from unorganized sector in this particular sectors which we are going to discuss. And third, does that company have enough strength to gain market share consistently over a long period of time? Some of these companies might be monopolies in their sectors. We'll discuss about that and how are these implications also. We'll be going deep dive into it. But this is the framework which I call fish in the pot framework, which you need to actually think about it. We need to find a fish which is small enough compared to the opportunity size which it has. The pot, which is a sector which should grow at least 10 to 12% or even more. And then your job is to find out companies which are big enough and are able to gain market share consistently for long period of time. If we are able to crack this code of these parameters, then guys, we have hit a jackpot. Okay, so then you will get a lot of compounders, a lot of multi-baggers into whatever sectors we are going to discuss going forward now. Okay, so if all of you are ready for this, just type ready in the comment box, and I'll keep you all awake, because I generally like to go much deep dive. I don't like to superficially throw ideas and vaguely say what is happening, but I generally like to go much deeper when I'm talking, and that is where I do fewer videos, but I go much in depth when I do these videos. Okay, so if all of you are ready for this, just type ready in the comment box and let's go deeper into this. So first of all, SEBI disclaimer, mandatory disclaimer. Let me just put my screen slightly towards the left so that all of you can see the entire disclaimer. Okay, and let me go further down. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, hopefully now you are able to see the slides. Yes, this is another disclaimer. A lot of stocks which we'll be discussing will be more of educational in nature, not recommendatory. It is just to share with you the underlying thought process. Okay, so please don't go and buy these stocks. Some of these stocks we might have bought much earlier also, and we might have also recommended it to the clients as we discussed initially. Okay, So let's first come to the sector which is railways. Okay. So railways is the first sector which all of us should focus. Now, what about railways is so interesting? Let's go deeper into it. So, first of all, if you see, the focus of the government has been threefold. Okay. So the first focus of the government, if you see the kind of budget allocation that we have done. So from 2013-14, if you compare right now how much we are spending on railways, is almost 9 times than we used to spend in 2013-14. The second very important thing, if you think, is the coach revamp. A lot of you might have seen these fancy coaches, which are Vande Bharat trains and a lot of these modern trains which you might be seeing now. That is the second very important thing, that not only new coaches are getting created, but even the revamping process is very, very powerful that is going on. And third very important thing is not only the corridor in terms of passenger rail, but also the freight corridor also taken care of. So if you see the key points which you need to focus on, the first thing is the expenditure. Now if you want to benefit as a equity investor, you need to think in terms of where money is going, where are the profit pools, where money is getting spent. Now, if you see last decade, the money was spent on lot of consumption related items because government spending was less, taxations were less, the formalization of the economy was less. Now, if you see, the formalization has really kicked in, the GST has accelerated the formalization, there was notebandi, lot of factors actually accelerated formalization. And when formalization happens, more money goes to government because of lot of different tax collection and the infrastructure that is getting created. And also the digital payment has played an important role. Now all this money, where it is going, it is going into the infrastructure spending. One of those sectors is railways. Okay, so if you see, the kind of spending that is happening has increased. The passenger traffic, now we are a country of crazy population, right? Whether it is a boon or ban, it is a debate, but at least for railway sector, it is projected that 12 billion passengers per year will be traveling by 2031. It's like crazy. If you speak this number to any other country outside India, they will go berserk that what is happening. Okay, and a lot of track renewal is happening. So if you see, almost 15 to 17,000 crores of money has been spent on track renewal. Okay, and there are a lot of different players like Titagar, Jupiter, Vegan is there. Then you have Bemel. A lot of these beneficiaries are there. Now, I'm not going deeper into this, but if you want to really like go deeper, I am proud to say that we found this sector almost 2 years back. In 2022, I've done this video. You can go back and check. That time we had discussed deep dive about this sector, not just one slide, but almost the entire PPT just on railway sector. And to put this into context, if you see the kind of moves that has happened since 2022 to right now, like say for example, Titagar Vegan was 92 rupees. Right now it is 1200 rupees, which is like 12x, move almost since we actually found that sector. If you see Texmeco Rail, from 2022 2023 it has gone almost 5 to 6x. If you see IRFC, that has gone almost like a 7 to 8x. Okay, and if you see Jupiter Vegan, which is another company in the vegan sector, it has again gone almost 20x. So the point I'm trying to make is, when this new government will come and they will continue the work which has been done almost for last many years, and not only just continue but accelerate what they are doing, the kind of money that could be made in these sectors could be beyond our imagination, right? So sometimes we feel like it has already become 3x, 4x, 5x, but if you see last decade, some of these consumption stocks, some of these white goods space stocks, they have become 100x. Okay, so the point is, if the earnings keeps coming, if the spending keeps happening, and if the companies are really strong to capture those profit pools and continuously increase the market share, you can still see crazy compounding. And I'm not saying you just tomorrow go and buy it. Of course, do your homework, But the point is, don't get anchored by what has happened in the past. Try to look from here, from this point, what is going to unfold in future. And if you think that earnings growth will still continue, you might still benefit into these sectors. Now, is it clear? The first sector, if all of you are clear, just type clear in the comment box. Now, second, one of my favorite is defense sector. Okay, so let's go deeper into defense sector and try to understand what all are the triggers for this sector. So first of all, the kind of expenditure that is happening in defense over next 6 to 8 years is almost 110 billion USD, which is like crazy. Okay, and to give you a context, we are also increasing the exports from our country. So it has almost increased 3-4x in last 5 to 6 years compared to what we had earlier. And most importantly, this again I've covered in my defense video which I did. You can just type defense sector Vivek Mashrani and you will get these items. There are 400 plus items which are into import embargo, meaning these items will not be imported. If you want these items, you need to prepare, be Atmanirbhar. Okay. And there are 2100 plus items which are covered into positive indigenization under Make in India project. And the FDI limit of this sector has also kind of increased. Okay. So there are a lot of triggers, and one of the major trigger is of course Make in India, right?
आज लाल किले की प्राचीर से विश्व भर में लोगों से कहना चाहता हूं, कम मेक इन इंडिया, आइए हिंदुस्तान में निर्माण कीजिए.
Okay, so there were multiple reasons like why this sector actually picked up. So first was the Doklam War, right? So we had war with China, and a lot of these, Chinese infiltration happened, and because of that, we also got alerted. And also because of Ukraine war, right? A lot of they faced a lot of struggle because they were relying on the imports of the, armaments. And that is where government really thought that is it worth to have dependency entirely on exports? Why not we make some critical parts in India? Okay, and this is what is the broad trajectory which has gone. So if you see this graph, the allocation of the budget, if you see the top right graph, the allocation of the budget has continuously been increasing on the defense side of it. And if you see the breakup, the majority of the money earlier was going into salaries and pensions and so on and so forth. But now if you see the orange, band which is there, which is the capital outlay, which is happening actually on the budget, defense budget spending, that is kind of slowly and steadily increasing. So that is the key. Another key scheme, which is Agnipath scheme, which has been again, along with the Atmanirbhar scheme, very, very powerful. So under this scheme, as I said, there are a lot of items which were uh, brought under import and embargo. There are a lot of indigenization that has happened, and even the FDI limit has been increased. And there are a lot of new corridors that are coming up in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. And a lot of these players like HAL, BDL, we have all the shipbuilding activities that has really benefited from the sector which we are trying to focus on. Now, to give you a context again, if you see HAL, okay, which is like a monopoly inside the sector. Again, I did a video. If you want to check it out, I'll just share the video also. Just go and search defense sector Vivek Mashrani. Again, proudly, we found this sector back in 2022. There is a video done in 2022 itself. So it's not in hindsight we are focusing on. But to give you in context what these kind of tailwinds can do for you, this was around 600, 500 rupees stock. Right now it is 4,600 stock, right? So it is almost 8x from where we analyzed this entire sector. Then if you see GRE shipping, which is more into shipping, that has become almost 5x from 2022. This has become almost again 6x from 2022. BEL has become again almost like 6 to 7x. Same way Mazdok, and same way Cochin Shipyard. Okay. So the point again is, if you are able to find monopolized company which are benefiting from these budget allocation. Now think about it, is it easy to overnight build a aircraft manufacturing company? Type in the comment box. Is it so easy? to manufacture? Is it so easy to suddenly, capture a technology to make a submarine or an entire ship? It's not easy. It takes years and years of technology understanding, the kind of infrastructure in the factory, and the know-how and the entire team to actually create it. Now, thankfully, we had these companies already established because of, thankfully, all the Congress government which was there earlier, right? Which again, Nehruji was visionary. He created a lot of these PSUs. um, Unfortunately, it got sick and there was a lot of corruption and a lot of things that happened, but that vision helped us to quickly indigenize things and take it over. And that is what, again, Modi ji has said in one of his speech. A lot of investors, are blind. They are not open to different sectors, different companies, and they are very blind to the past. Okay, but as an investor, what we need to be open to what is unfolding in the future. And that is what, a lot of investors who had that stigma of PSU and all those things, they were taken aback and they were not able to create wealth during this entire run which happened. But what Modi ji has said is this: go for it.
LIC पर बात हो गई, गरीबों के पैसे डूब रहे हैं, गरीब कहां जाएगा? बेचारे ने बड़ी मेहनत से LIC में पैसा डाला है। क्या कहे, जितनी उनकी कल्पना शक्ति थी, जितने उनके दरबारियों ने कागज पकड़ा दिए थे, सारे बोल लेते थे वो, सारे बोल लेते थे। लेकिन आज LIC लगातार मजबूत हो रही है। शेयर मार्केट में रुचि रखने वाले को भी ये गुरु मंत्र है कि जो सरकारी कंपनियों को ये लोग गाली देना, आप उसमें दांव लगा दीजिए साहब, अच्छा ही हो जाएगा।
Yeah, so on the lighter note, hope you got the point. Okay, so let's come to the third sector. The third sector, again, we were, you know, fortunate enough to do a detailed video. You can just search Vivek Mashrani renewable energy or green energy on YouTube, and you will find this detailed video which we did. But to give you a context, this is like a mega trend which is going on, and because our bill of oil and gas import has been, increasing year on year on year, this has been one of the very, very big focus of the current government. So if you see, the government is giving big push in terms of using solar. There have been a lot of schemes, a lot of subsidies that has come in. The green energy in terms of wind has been very, very prominent. How we can garner the wind energy and how we can recycle things has been also the focus. And if you see solar energy, also a lot of companies have benefited due to various schemes. And another proxy play of the green energy is also like EV space, right? So the electric vehicles also are picking up, and that is also really like putting up a dent. And we will learn about one of the beneficiary of EV and related sector coming soon. There are two more sectors which we are going to discuss, and a lot of companies which might be beneficiary into these sectors. But to think about the sector, green energy sector, we have been planning to produce 130 to 140 gigawatts of solar energy in next 3 to 4 years. And there are a lot of PLI schemes incentive which are being given. It is also being given in defense sector and also some of these railway sector also. And there are a lot of proxy plays. Now again, we will not be able to go deep dive into a lot of these companies as such, but there are a lot of proxy plays which are there, and I'll also share the slides in terms of what all things are happening inside this and what all companies are there, right? So there are companies like KPI Green, companies like SW Solar, there are companies like Inox Wind, Wari Renewable. And if you see the kind of outlay that is happening inside these PLI scheme is over 45 billion rupees in the next 5 years period, and later it is increased to 240 billion. So this is like a crazy amount that is getting spent. And along with this, there are a lot of opportunity in terms of grids, in terms of towers, in terms of smart meters, in terms of transformers, which we'll be discussing towards the end of this video. So I have a separate segment and I'll be covering around that. Now try to think about how has been the compounding over here, right? So if you see, KPI Green is almost like a 20x in last 2 years. If you see Wari Renewables, it is like crazy. It has been almost like more than 100x in a way. Inox Wind has been almost like a 6x in last 2 years, and SW Solar has been almost like a 3x 4x kind of journey in last 2 years. Okay, so the point again is, when you pick up the right sectors which are having tailwinds and where the money is getting spent, you can get crazy exponential returns. Now, the fourth sector which we'll be focusing on, by the way, if you are not following me on Twitter, you can just check out my Twitter profile at the rate Mashrani Vivek. Go and follow my Twitter handle. I share a lot of these amazing insights on Twitter also. And if you are not following me on Instagram, this is my Instagram handle, Vivek Mashrani. Okay, so just don't, no underscore, nothing, because there are a lot of fake profiles also that come up. So just make sure you follow the same handle, Vivek Mashrani, without any dot, without any underscore. Okay. By the way, if you are liking this video so far, just hit a thumbs up so that I know that you are liking it so far, and we can go much faster in terms of acceleration into it. Now, public infra has been one of the prominent, goal of this government. In fact, Mr. Modi has gone to the extent and said that I want to see, Viksit Bharat by 2047 before I die, which is a very powerful statement. It's like, you have a driver and entire bus he is riding. You need to make sure you are driving with him, right? Otherwise you will miss the entire bus. So if you are connected with this vision and directionally whatever government is doing, you need to again be on the right side of where government's focus is. If you go on the wrong side, you will get beaten up. Okay, so sectors like roads, right, highways, very big focus of this government. Then we have ports, which is again part of a big infrastructure development which we have. And some of the proxy plays of these infrastructure development is companies which are into cranes and those kind of things, right? So you need to be again open and focus on different parts where the focus of the government is there, right? So roads, ports, airport, affordable housing, more connectivity, more good infrastructure, good public infrastructure has been the focus of the government, and you need to again align with these focus areas if you want to benefit as an investor, right? So think about which all companies will benefit, right? So if you think about public infra, in fact, let me just go back to the previous slide. Just give me 1 second. So if you want to think about public infra, the first thing comes into my mind is water management, right? There are a lot of villages and towns where the water is not there, clean water is not there. So companies like Just Engineering, Wabag, which are into water solutions might benefit. Again, these are not recommendation. I'm just connecting the dots so that you understand that there are companies which exist, and if you want to play these themes, you can actually think about some of these listed companies and you can benefit from it. Then aviation sector, right? Again, direct plays could be something like airline companies like Indigo. You can have indirect plays like companies who are, creating these airports like GMR Infra and so on and so forth. Okay. And then there are a lot of focus on tourism. So there are a lot of proxy plays available on tourism also. Okay. One of the proxy plays which I used to think about is VIP and Safari. So the if baggage industry is like a proxy play of these entire tourism and airline plays. So not only think on a first order thing, but also think deeper in terms of which all are the connected sector which can also benefit. Okay, so this is more about infrastructure sector. Let's go next in terms of capital goods and T&D. This is the fifth sector, but towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you some bonus insights also. So if you are, following me so far, just type with you in the comment box so that I know that you are following this so far. Now, the fifth sector is very important, which is called capital goods. And along with capital goods, some of these transmission and distribution companies on the power side of the infra. Okay. Now, why these companies will benefit? Because if the country is spending so much on public infra, right? If the roads are getting manufactured, if ports are getting manufactured, if new airports are getting manufactured, there will be a lot of machinery which enhance these sectors, and proxy play of these machineries, like say gear company, or think about companies which are into very heavy machinery, will also benefit, right? So when the sector moves, a lot of these ancillary plays also get benefited. And if we think about the power sector infrastructure growth, then a lot of these transmission and distribution companies will also get benefited. Okay, so let's try to understand what is happening here, right? So the first thing is, there are a lot of these core players, and then there are a lot of these ancillary players. So I'll share my slides and let's go deeper into this. So the first thing is, this is also linked with the green energy. Okay, so when the green energy focus is increasing, the older way of generation, which was into coal, is no more relevant. You need to upgrade your grids, you need to upgrade your transmission lines, and that is exactly what is happening, right? So if you see, over next 3 to 4 years, the entire Indian infrastructure grid will require almost 2.4 trillion rupees worth of capex. Can you imagine the kind of number this is? Okay, and also, because of the green energy, the kind of smart meters and a lot of transformers and a lot of these things will also change. A lot of these entire value chain in terms of power equipment will also change. Now, to put you into this context, just see the kind of moves and the money is getting made into these sectors. And best part is, these moves are very, very recent. So all these transformations are not too old. It is just like less than 2 years old, which is happening. If you see companies like Hitachi Energy, and by the way, a lot of these companies I might have recommended to our research clients. Some of these companies I might be holding in my current portfolio. So please don't consider this as a recommendation. We might have a vested interest, but think it like a connecting dots, right? To understand these sectors and how this is reflecting in the technical side of it, in the price action side of it. And of course, you can also do a fundamental side of things, which is where I have developed a powerful template. Like if you want to analyze, say, HAL, and you want to see what all numbers are coming, I've actually created a template. So if you export that template and if you open that template up, you will be able to analyze exactly what is happening in their income statement, how the numbers are moving, where the growth is happening, how is the growth, all the numbers you will be getting, all the ratios you will automatically get it. And most importantly, there is a powerful DuPont analysis which also you will be able to get it. So if you want to do fundamental side of the things, I'll give you the link which you can use to download this Excel. Go to technofunda.co/Excel. If you are already part of my community, you already have access to this Excel. But fundamental side of the things you can do separately. But what I'm covering more is the sectoral understanding, as well as I'm going deeper into the technical side of the company, so that you can understand the kind of impact in terms of prices also these companies are doing. Okay, so let's go back in terms of what all things are happening. Okay, so if you see the power generation grid company like Power Grid, it was like in slumber, almost 2x. If you see the financing companies, these are again proxy plays. Okay, so if you see the power financing companies, these guys have become almost like a 5x in less than one and a half year. If you see companies like REC again into power financing, this has almost gone 5x. Okay, and the best part is, some of the techniques which we use inside our community, like this. So if there is a breakout, okay, so there is a breakout over here, and our indicator becomes green. Until it becomes red, we keep riding it. Okay, and again, if there is a further breakout, we again re-enter. Okay, some of these companies we also recommended to our research clients, like Voltemp has been one of our recommendation to our research client that has like recently doubled in no time. Okay, we had Schneider Electric, which is again into this beneficiary of this sector. Again, this we have recommended to our client some time back. Okay, but it has again, if you see the kind of price movement, it has become 4x in less than 1 year. Okay, one and a half year. And there are a lot of other companies like Apar Industry, HBL Power, which has gone multifold because of the kind of moves that has happened and the kind of spending that is happening in the sector. Okay. Another ancillary play which I was talking about, like Crane, there are a lot of listed players. So you have companies like Ace, you have companies like Scheffler, which is into ball bearings and so on and so forth. You have companies like Indigo, you have companies like Just Engineering, which is into water purification and all those things. You have Wabag, you have GMR Infra. So a lot of these companies, if you see, are getting beneficiary of this entire tailwind which is there in these five sectors. Just to recap, we discussed first the framework in terms of how to think about these sectors. So think about sectors which are growing more than 10 to 12% plus, more than GDP. Try to find out companies which are very, very strong. Okay, that is what we do inside our research team also. If you see the transformer and these distribution plays, there are very few clustered play which are garnering the market share, right? So you have Voltemp and Apar Industry, very few players which are there in the sector. Then even in defense, you only have HL in the airspace. You have 3 to 4 companies which are there into your shipping manufacturing. So if you really work hard enough, like even in the crane, you have Ace and then there is one more player. Okay, there are 2 3 players only. Ace is biggest one. Second is very very far off, like Sangvi Movers, which is there. So if you do your homework really well and really dive into these sectors, I am sure a lot of opportunities will emerge for all of you. Okay, so with that done, we are closing this session in terms of the learning. If you have any questions, would be happy to answer your questions. But hope you liked and enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please type in the comment box what all things you felt about this video, and would love to get your feedback. And also let me know which all types of videos you want to see, so that if at all I am having some bandwidth, I'll try to come live. I generally don't do recorded videos because I generally like to connect one-to-one live with all my investor friends. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. Would love to answer your questions, and if not, we can close this session. Okay, so first question is what to look into these sectors when we are analyzing. So first thing what you need to look at is whether there is growth or not. Okay, so first of all, the growth in the sector is very very important. Even if you are seeing subsectors or some of these ancillary plays which are there, sectoral growth is the first thing which you should be thinking about. The second thing is, if sector is growing and if the sector has a lot of tailwinds, how are the profit pools inside this entire value chain, right? So inside that entire value chain, which all companies can basically get beneficiary of these profit pools? Okay, so that is the second thing. And the third thing is the company strong enough in terms of competitive advantages that they are able to maintain the return ratios, which is ROC, return on capital employed, and consistently grow. We cover this entire framework called machine framework inside one of our module inside our community, which is called Core Portfolio Blueprint. And if you also want to join our community and want to know more about it, you can join our orientation session, which is a 90-minute session, which is free completely, and you can get to know what all things you need to do to build your system. Okay, so that is how you need to go about it. Yeah. Awesome. Gayan is saying, how to upload Excel template. So what you need to do if you want to upload the Excel template, just download this template. On the first tab of this Excel, I'll just share the screen and show it to you. So on the first tab of this Excel, you will see all the steps which are required. Okay, so all the steps which are there, it is already covered there. So you can just download it from the link which I've given, and then you will be able to get it. By the way, if you have not read my books, I'm author of 2 bestseller books. You can just go on Amazon and check it out. The first book is You Can Compound, which is on investing, and second book, which is by Penguin, it is on personal finance. So if you want to up your game in terms of personal finance and take charge of your money, please go and check out both these books, and I'm sure it will be very very beneficiary in your investing journey. Any further question, please let me know so that I can know whether there is any doubt or not. Okay, awesome. So because there are no further questions, we'll end this session here. Thank you so much again for being with me live for almost 40 minutes. Really means a lot. That means you are really serious in your investing journey. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep compounding. See you in the next video.